Inanna, you must not open your mouth against the rights of the underworld. So Nelly's telling her, these are the rights. You want to come in, you have to play by rules. And the rules that Ereshkigal has put in place is that that item is already removed. Inanna, you wish for it. So same thing happens when she enters the second gate. The small non-necessity beings are removed from the dark. He says, what is this? Again, he tells her the same thing. Be satisfied, Inanna. The divine power of the underworld has been fulfilled. Inanna, you must not open your mouth against the rights of the underworld. So again, you can start seeing the incantation aspect of the story. It's meant to be spoken and felt and repeated. So so on and so forth. She goes to the third gate, the fourth gate, the fifth gate, sixth gate, seventh gate. The last gate they remove rests from the Lord Valhalla, the garden of creation. And she's made to crouch down immediately. The seven judges rendered their decision against her. They looked at her, it was the look of death. They spoke to her, it was the speech of anger. They shouted at her, it was the shout of heavy guilt. The afflicted woman was turned into a corpse, and the corpse was hung on the hook. So as soon as she arrives, crouched down at the feet of Ereshkigal, Ereshkigal rises. She puts Inanna to the test, like puts her on the throne, has all these people, judges judging her, judges, remember this is Ereshkigal, she's a court queen. So she has these seven judges judge her, shout at her, be mad at her, and eventually pronounce her dead. So basically, Inanna's dead upon arrival, and she's turned into a corpse. Inanna's dead. As soon as Inanna dies, the world above ground starts changing. The birds stop chirping. People stop making children. Fertility is dead. The trees stop growing. Things become really somber above ground because Inanna, the queen of birth and fertility, growth, nature, is dead. So who's there to take care of that now? Nobody. After 3 nights had passed, her minister carried out the instructions of her mistress. She did what Inanna told her. She made a lament for herself. She beat the drum for her in the cemetery. She made the drum on the heels of her altar. She lacerated her eyes with her. She lacerated her nose like a pauper. She clothed herself in a single garment and put all the knowledge and sacrifice into the house of her. But long story short, she tells Enlil, don't let young lady Inanna be killed in the underworld. Please, little brother. She begs him. Enlil is furious. He's super pissed. He's like, my daughter craved the great heaven, and she craved the great blue as well. The divine powers of the underworld are divine powers which should not be craved. Who above against them must remain in the underworld. Who having got to that place can then expect to come again? So Enlil is incredulous. Like, she knows that if she goes down there, she can't come up.
Great,
She's
which is
always
like
been the kind of person
is like writing jokes is the process of shutting everything off, books, TV, movies, your phone, and letting yourself become so bored with an idea that the idea becomes interesting.
That's how I feel about songs. Living in like a delusional bored space where no music really exists, and then you in your head write a song that needs to exist, and even that feels reductive.
Yeah.
But that's been an interesting journey for me and a lot of people I know of, like living through this time of answering for how you did something and explaining something that you don't even, when it happens to you, it's like asking someone like where God is or why they believe. It's like I could like give you some poetry, but it's kind of in the music.
What I'm doing here is I'm looking in my little book of random things I've written down that I've heard in places to see if I have written anything about shadows. I think on this page I had the marker in here because I used this book to help write another Nur Ein song way back when, which I released on an EP last year. And the first line of this page here is, "This morning I watched the sky burn." And I definitely borrowed that line. I should be recording this with a better microphone, but I'm not. I'd have to get up out of the bed to do that. When I step into the dark, I am alone. One more step into the dark. The walls begin to glow. I don't know where I'm going. I try to read what's on the wall, but it's written in another language. And time stands still as the story calls. So I step into the past. I lose myself. One more step into the past. The darkness overwhelms me and I don't know where I'm going. I try to see what lies ahead. A space opens up before me and time stands still as I step through it. The world opens up as I fall into light, so sudden and so violent as it assaults my eyes, and I spin around and see myself. I'm broken by my gaze. I read a million different stories written on my face. I'm drowning in light. It is too much, and I back out slow. I black out slowly, back out, reach back into the past. I follow paths I've walked before, but now they are new, because I am not the same. I've faced my truth. The world opens up as I fall into light, so sudden, so violent as it assaults my eyes, and I spin around and see myself. I'm broken by my gaze. I read a million different stories written on my face, and I'm drowning in light. It is too much, and I black out slowly, back out, reach back into the past, and I follow paths I've walked before, but they are new, because I am not the same. I face my truth. When I step out, I step into the dark. I am alone. When I step into the dark, I am alone. One more step into the dark. The walls begin to glow, and I don't know where I'm going. I try to read what's on the wall, but it's written in another language, and time stands still as the story calls. So I step into the past. I lose myself. One more When I step into the dark, I am alone. One more step into the dark. The walls begin to glow, and I don't know where I'm going. I try to read what's on the wall, but it's written in another language, and time stands still as the story calls. So I step into the past. I lose myself. One more step into the past. The darkness overwhelms me, and I don't know where I'm going. I try to see what lies ahead. Space opens up before me, and time stands still as I step through it. The world opens up as I fall into light. So sudden and so violent, it assaults my eyes, and I spin around and see myself. I'm broken by my gaze. Every million different stories written in this place, and I am drowning in that. It is too much. I black out slowly, back out, reach back into the past, and I follow paths I've walked before, but now they are new because I am not the same. I faced my truth. Sounds like a musical theatre song. Wasn't what I was planning. It's the perfect rhyme at the end. I don't like it. It's too much. I back out slowly, back into the past, and I maybe that's because I am not the same. I am not the same. When in doubt, repeat something. When I step into the dark, I am alone. One more step into the dark. The walls begin to glow, and I don't know where I'm going. I try to read what's on the wall, but it's written in another language, and time stands still as the story calls. So I step into the past. I lose myself. One more step into the past. The darkness overwhelms wrong cable. When I step into the dark, I am alone. One more step into the dark. The air begins to glow, and I don't know where I'm going. I try to read what's on the wall, but it's written in another language. Time stands still as the story calls. So I step into the past. I lose myself one more step into the past. The darkness overwhelms me and I don't know where I am going. I try to see what lies ahead. The space opens up before me and time stands still as I step through it. All opens up as I fall into the light. So silent, so violent, as I close my eyes and see myself a broken body gazing different stories written in endless place. I am drowning in the light. It is too much. I black out slowly, back out, reach back into the past. Paths I've walked before, but they're all written because I am not the same. I am not the same. And that's the basis. That will be what we make everything else from. Reader, I did not keep that original track. I made a more consistent tempo track from it. And then I deleted the original track that I'd recorded and recorded some new piano and then also recorded a tracking vocal. So we're on to the next step.
Make this as simple as we can. We'll turn off basically everything, right? So this is, I can turn the volume up, can't I? Which one did you
You can
use?
also use the big knob there to turn up the volume.
Where is the big? I can't even see
It's
it.
just behind the computer.
Oh, it's just the thing that you can't see or reach.
There you go.
Just use that. Okay, so that's. So this is your. It's quite noisy. Listen to it. Where's that noise coming from?
What noise?
That him. Oh. That noise. I think it's because the input's up too high. That's better. So these are the switches to turn the different things on. I don't like the way you're filming this, but I know you have to.
It's in part so that I have a record of
Yeah.
how to use it.
So this switch is for this oscillator. This is your primary oscillator. Then this is your second, and this is your third, which have their own volume controls. And then you can tune the other oscillators compared to the first one. So if I play this is oscillator 1, which is the further, basically the further you go down the waveforms, the smoother it tends to sound. Like this, and I'll just go through the waveforms. There's not much difference there because I haven't turned. I'll turn up the cutoff frequency. You'll hear it a bit better then. Sort of gets nastier as you go along. So if you want a real smooth bass, you probably have to, and then turn the cutoff down. And then you start playing with. Hear the attack. Here it comes in.
I like that sort of slow attack there. It's nice.
And then you can do stuff like. I was tuning oscillator 2 to a third oscillator,
Okay.
3 to a 5th.
Gotcha.
So if you want just a real basic sound, it's just that.
Maybe start with a more basic.
It's going to self oscillation
So that's feeding back
into itself,
into itself. Sounds like a theremin being played badly.
yeah.
Oh, Nora's still got my theremin.
Okay, so then you can start playing with your filtering, but it depends on what sort of sound you're after.
Well, let's start having a look.
I think this is too
When I
loud.
step into the dark, I am alone.
First,
One more.
before, let's just make sure that's your...
So you're tuning it to be the right frequency.
This takes a few minutes to warm up to get to pitch, so it should be
So it
pretty
should
close.
be there now because it's been on for a little bit.
I'd call that in tune, wouldn't you?
Sounds fine to me.
Let me just go up. Near enough is good enough. It's never going to be perfect because it's analog. Okay.
All right, I'm going to stop recording now and we're just going to have fun.
When I step into the dark, I am alone. One more step into the dark. The air begins to glow and I don't know where I am going. I try to read what's on the walls, but it's written in another language and time stands still as the story goes. So I step into the past. I want. My duvet hanging from the ceiling and my pile of pillows in the corner, so it is time to record some vocals. Let's try to position this so I can see myself, but also so that if somebody opens the door, they don't knock the camera over. There we go. One day we will have a treated room that we don't have to do all this nonsense to, and we can just record from the right spot. But for now, we've got our Focusrite, laptop, headphones, mic, little light, the window shut even though it's hot because there's a dog barking outside. And I am gonna record my actual vocal. What we've been hearing so far has just been a scratch vocal, so hopefully this one will be a bit better. When I step into the dark, I am alone, one more step into the dark. The air begins to glow and I don't know where I am going. I try to read what's on the walls, but it's written in another language, and time stands still as the story calls. Okay, so I am not going to make you watch me record that whole vocal. It took a long time, and to be honest, it was not my best work. I think if I was going back in time, I would not record the vocals and the instrumental on the same day. I think my ears were a bit tired, and I had to do a fair bit of processing work on the vocal to get it to be passable. I am pretty happy with the song though, so I want to talk a bit about how I came up with the structure and stuff. So as you saw at the start of the video, I sort of based this song on two things. One of them was the story of Inanna's descent into the underworld, which I read a book about recently and found pretty interesting and fun. And the other was an artwork that I saw at Mona Museum 10, 15, 14, a number of years ago. So Mona Museum is an art museum in Hobart in Australia. It is called Mona. It's an acronym for the Museum of Old and New Art. And I saw this artwork, I think I missed it the first time I went to the museum, but I saw it the second time I went. And it is a room that is built into Mona. It's an artwork by an artist named Brigitte Azolins, and it's called Cryptos, and it is an architectural installation work, and it's sort of divided into three parts. So you walk in and the walls are glowing, you walk along a corridor and there's binary code on the wall. And it turns out that that binary code is the Epic of Gilgamesh. And there's the cuneiform little tablets inside that segment as well. Then you go into a second chamber of the artwork and things change a bit. The soundscape changes and some other stuff changes. And then you go into a third chamber of the artwork, which is completely different. And I don't want to spoil an artwork because it's kind of a spoilery artwork, but most people are not gonna get to Mona to see this. If you are at Mona, please go and find Kryptos and go and see it because it's fantastic. But, so spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear the spoiler, fast forward a bit. The final room, the light is not artificial anymore, if I recall correctly. The light is natural coming from above. Mona is underground. And so this installation is underground, but there's like a skylight in this particular artwork, I think. I could be recalling correctly. But you can see into sort of the foyer of the museum from this area. But also when you walk in, you see a mirror reflecting yourself back. And that doesn't sound very scary when I say it out loud like that. But it shocked me so much when I was experiencing the artwork for the first time because it does such a good job of building up this tension and this atmosphere that you are not expecting to see yourself when you walk in. You're not expecting to see anybody, so seeing another person, almost what happened was I almost knocked myself out. I got such a shock. I jumped up and I nearly hit my head on the ceiling and almost knocked myself out. I would love if like David Walsh has like video inside that chamber to see people's reactions. It would be pretty funny, but I also hope he doesn't because it was pretty embarrassing. But yeah, it gave me a huge shock and I went all the way back out. Then I came all the way back in again and spent some more time with it and watched other people coming in, and nobody else had the same reaction I did, but it's okay to be wrong to those other people. So I wanted to structure the song in kind of the same way that that artwork is structured, with 3 chambers and then an exit. So I've got, I sort of wrote it in through form, so I've got the first part, I've got the second part that is kind of a repeat of the first part, same chords, same kind of structure, but different lyrics. And then I have this third part, which is going into the third chamber. And it's got different chords. And instead of doing sort of talk singing, I do singing. And then after that part is done, we sort of come to the outro of the song, which changes up again, and that is the exit from the artwork and the exit of Anana from the underworld. So I will play the song for you now in its currently finished state. Obviously I just had like a week to write and record this, so there are a lot of things in the mix and stuff that I would change, and if I release this further down the track, I will change, but people have heard it now, it's out there in the world, so now you can hear it too. I hope you enjoy it.
When I step into the dark, I am alone, one more step into the dark. The air begins to glow and I don't know where I am going. I try to read what's on the walls, but it's written in another language, and time stands still as the story goes. Step into the past, I lose myself one more step into the past. The darkness overwhelms me and I don't know where I am going. I try to see what lies ahead. A space opens up before me, and time stands still as I step through. As I
by my gaze. I read a million different stories written in this place. I'm drowning in the light. It is too much. I black out slowly, back out, reach back into the past. I follow paths I've walked before, but they're all brand new. Because I am not the same. I am not the I forgot to say originally that this song was written for a songwriting contest I'm taking part in called Nur Ein, and so I only had a week to write and record and mix and submit this song, and the title was Greetings Traveller, which is where I kind of came up with the idea of Anana travelling through the underworld and me travelling through the artwork Kryptos. And the non-optional challenge for this was to include jungle sounds or a Tarzan yell. I did not include a Tarzan yell, it was not appropriate for my song, but I did include some jungle sounds and rainforest sounds in the final mix. So without further ado, let's have a listen.